it's all gonna be good. Don't worry about nothing, don't worry about nothing, nothing now. It's all gonna be good. So breathe like you know you should. Yeah, breathe.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into a super sweet story from Peppa Pig's little town. It's a beautiful, sunny morning, and Peppa and George are out in the garden. George is happily playing with his most treasured toy, his green dinosaur. Dinosaur! Grr! He roars, waving it around. Peppa just laughs. George, you never put that dinosaur down. Don't you ever get tired of it? George just shakes his head. No, Dinosaur is my best friend. Peppa, full of energy, suggests a game. Come on, George, let's play hide and seek. George agrees, clutching his dinosaur tightly. Peppa covers her eyes and starts counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready or not, here I come. George quickly scampers behind a big flower bush. As he crouches down to hide, oops! The dinosaur slips out of his hand and tumbles into the long grass. But George is so focused on the game, he doesn't even notice. A moment later, Peppa is on the hunt. Where could George be? Not behind the tree, not under the bench. Aha! Found you! She shouts, peeking behind the bush. George giggles. You found me! But as he looks at his empty hands, his smile disappears. Dinosaur? He asks, his voice small. Peppa tilts her head. What's wrong, George? Dinosaur, gone! He cries out. Oh no, his favorite toy is lost. Peppa immediately helps him search under the bush and around the bench, but the dinosaur is nowhere to be found. Mummy Pig, Peppa calls. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig come out to see what's wrong. Oh dear, says Mummy Pig. When did you last see it, George? George just sniffles. Garden, hide and seek. Daddy Pig tries to cheer him up. Don't worry, George. We'll find it. Maybe Mr. Dinosaur just went on a little adventure. Adventure? George whispers. Peppa's eyes light up. Yes! Let's go find him before he gets too far. The whole family searches the garden, then the house from the kitchen to the toy box, but Mr. Dinosaur is still missing. Mummy Pig has an idea. I think we should ask for help from the police. They help find lost things. George's eyes go wide. Police? That's right, Daddy Pig confirms. Let's go to the police station. So they all hop in their little red car and head into town. At the station, they meet Officer Panda and Officer Squirrel. Hello, Peppa Pig, says Officer Panda. We need your help, Peppa announces bravely. George's dinosaur is lost. A lost dinosaur? That sounds serious, says Officer Squirrel. Officer Panda gets out his big notebook to make a missing toy report. Name of the missing toy? Mr. Dinosaur, says Peppa. Color? Green, George exclaims. Last seen? In the garden, near the flower bush, Peppa adds. We'll start the search right away, the officer declares. While they wait, they get a tour of the station and see the lost and found box, but sadly, no dinosaur. Seeing George's sad face, Officer Squirrel suggests, how about you come along with us in the police car while we search? George's face instantly brightens up. Yes! So with a nee-naw of the siren, they set off. First, they visit Grandpa Pig. Have you seen a green dinosaur? Peppa asks. I saw a green watering can, Grandpa replies with a chuckle. Does that count? Next, they stop at Rebecca Rabbit's house. Neither Rebecca nor Mummy Rabbit has seen the dinosaur, but they promise to keep a lookout. George is starting to lose hope. Dinosaur still gone. Just then, Officer Squirrel's walkie-talkie crackles to life. Calling all units, we found something in the park. Could it be? Dinosaur! George shouts, full of hope. Let's go! Says Officer Panda, and with the siren wailing, they race towards the park to solve the mystery. Thanks for joining our story today. What do you think happened to Mr. Dinosaur? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more fun adventures. See you next time. The police car's siren wailed, "Nee-naw, nee-naw," as it sped towards the park. Peppa and George, full of excitement, peered out the window. Do you think they've really found Mr. Dinosaur? Peppa asked, her voice filled with hope. George clutched his little toy hat, his expression a mix of nervousness and anticipation. "I hope so," he whispered. Mummy Pig, from the front seat, offered a reassuring smile. "Let's find out what this mystery is all about," Daddy Pig added with a chuckle. "Yes, perhaps Mr. Dinosaur has been having a go on the swings." The thought made everyone laugh. Arriving at the park, Officer Panda skillfully parked the car beside a large oak tree. Officer Squirrel surveyed the scene. Everything looks quiet. Over at the playground, Susie Sheep, Danny Dog, and Pedro Pony were spinning on the roundabout. "Hello, Peppa," Susie called out. "What are you doing in a police car?" Peppa hopped out, waving enthusiastically. "We're looking for George's dinosaur! The police are helping us!" Susie's eyes widened. "A lost dinosaur? Wow!" Danny Dog barked with excitement. "Maybe it's hiding in the sand pit. Dinosaurs love sand." Everyone rushed over to the sand pit and began to dig. They dug and dug, sand flying everywhere, but all they unearthed was a red bucket and a small crab toy. "No dinosaur here," Officer Squirrel noted. Just then, Pedro Pony raised his hand. "I saw something green earlier, near the duck pond." "The duck pond," Peppa cried. "That's where the ducks live." Officer Panda declared, "Let's go." They all hurried to the pond, where ducks were quacking happily. "Hello, ducks," said Peppa. "Have you seen a dinosaur around here?" The ducks only replied with more quacks. Daddy Pig chuckled. "I think that means no." George's face fell. "Dinosaur not here?" Suddenly, Peppa spotted something in the grass. "Look, there's something green!" Everyone dashed over, only to find it was just a green tennis ball. "Oh, false alarm," Peppa said, disappointed. Officer Panda jotted in his notebook. "No dinosaur at the park, but we'll keep searching." As they were leaving, they encountered Mr. Bull, who was digging a new flower bed. Peppa explained their mission, and Mr. Bull gasped. "Lost dinosaur? Don't worry. If it's in the ground, I'll find it." His big digger shovel went to work, clanking loudly and sending dust everywhere. After a few minutes, he stopped. "No dinosaur underground, just lots of mud." Everyone giggled when they saw Mr. Bull covered in dirt. Just then, Officer Squirrel's walkie-talkie crackled to life. "Calling Officer Panda. A toy has been found near the ice cream shop." "Another clue," exclaimed Officer Panda. They all jumped back into the police car and zoomed off. At the shop, Miss Rabbit greeted them brightly. "We're looking for a green dinosaur toy. Have you seen one?" Peppa asked. Miss Rabbit thought for a moment. I did see something green roll under that table." George gasped. "Dinosaur!" He scrambled under the table, but emerged holding a green ice cream spoon. "Oh, not again," Peppa sighed. Miss Rabbit kindly offered them free strawberry cones, which cheered them up a bit. While they ate their ice cream, Officer Panda mused, "We've checked the garden, the park, and the ice cream shop. Where else could a toy go?" Officer Squirrel opened her map. "There's one place we haven't checked yet, the recycling center. Sometimes toys end up there by mistake." "Let's go there next," Peppa cheered. They finished their ice cream and got back into the police car as the sun began to set. "We'll find your dinosaur before bedtime, George," Peppa promised. At the recycling yard, big machines clanked and clattered. Mr. Rhino and Mr. Elephant were sorting through piles of old items. "We're looking for a small green dinosaur," Officer Panda announced. Mr. Elephant lifted a box full of toys, and Peppa peeked inside. There were dolls and cars, but no dinosaur. George's lip began to tremble. "Dinosaur gone forever." "Don't give up, George," Peppa said, giving him a hug. Just then, Officer Panda spotted a tiny green tail under a truck. He reached down and pulled, but it was a broken garden gnome with a green hat. George sighed deeply. Officer Panda patted his shoulder. "Don't worry, George. Tomorrow we'll check the last place on our list, the town fair." The search for Mr. Dinosaur would continue. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed our adventure, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more fun stories. See you next time. The next morning, the sun was shining again. Birds were singing, and Peppa and George were having breakfast. Mummy Pig was frying pancakes, and Daddy Pig was reading the newspaper. But George wasn't smiling. He just pushed his pancakes around his plate and sighed. Dinosaur still gone? Peppa patted his shoulder. Don't be sad, George. Officer Panda said we'll find him today. Today? George asked, his voice filled with hope. Yes, said Peppa. We're going to the town fair. Maybe Mr. Dinosaur went there to have fun. Fun? Said George, brightening up a little. Dinosaur fun. Daddy Pig smiled from behind his newspaper. Finish your breakfast, everyone. We've got a busy day ahead. A little while later, the whole pig family drove to the fairground. It was a wonderful sight. There were bright lights, colorful tents, cheerful music playing, and lots of laughing children. Wow, said Peppa. The fair is so big. George clapped his hands. Rides, balloons! Officer Panda and Officer Squirrel were already waiting for them at the gate. Good morning, Peppa Pig, said Officer Panda. Are you ready to find that missing dinosaur? Yes, Peppa replied confidently. Let's follow the clues. Their first stop was the bouncy castle. Children were jumping up and down, going boing, boing. Peppa loved bouncy castles. Can we look and bounce at the same time? She asked. Officer Squirrel laughed. Of course. Maybe your dinosaur likes bouncing too. Peppa and George climbed on and bounced high into the air. Whee! But after all that fun, there was still no sign of Mr. Dinosaur. Said Officer Panda, making a note in his little book. No dinosaur on the bouncy castle. Next, they checked the balloon stand. Miss Rabbit was there, selling big, shiny balloons in every color imaginable. Hello again, Miss Rabbit, said Peppa. We're still looking for George's dinosaur. Miss Rabbit thought for a moment. Cotton candy, said George, licking his lips. Let's go there right away, said Officer Panda. At the cotton candy stall, Daddy Pig bought a big pink swirl for everyone. Yum, said Peppa, taking a big bite. This is delicious. But George wasn't eating. He was busy searching. Dinosaur, he called softly. Where are you? He peeked under the table, behind the candy machine, and even under the trash bin, but he found nothing. Officer Squirrel smiled kindly. Sometimes clues hide in the strangest places, George. Keep looking. Then they heard a voice calling out, Excuse me, excuse me. It was Emily Elephant waving from the toy ring toss booth. I think I found something green this morning, she said. Everyone hurried over. What is it? Asked Peppa. Emily pointed to a prize shelf. It was under the counter. I thought it was one of the toys. Officer Panda reached up and pulled out a green tail that was sticking out of a box. George gasped, Dinosaur! But when Officer Panda pulled it free, it wasn't a dinosaur at all. It was a green rubber snake. Oh! Said Peppa, disappointed. George frowned. Not Dinosaur. Just then, a loud voice came over the speaker. Attention, everyone! The lost and found tent is now open. Officer Panda smiled. Aha! Maybe Mr. Dinosaur was turned in there. They all hurried to the lost and found tent. Inside, there were hats, scarves, toys, and even a lost teddy bear. A kind lady behind the counter asked, Hello? Have you lost something? Yes, said Peppa. George lost his green dinosaur. The lady looked through her box. Let's see. Green umbrella, green toy truck. Oh, and a green dinosaur. George's eyes lit up. Dinosaur. But when she pulled it out, it was made of felt, not plastic. This one belongs to the craft table, said the lady. Sorry, little one. George's shoulders slumped again. Oh. After checking every single booth and every tent, everyone sat down to rest. We've looked everywhere, Peppa said, sipping her lemonade. Officer Squirrel nodded. The fair is clean. No lost dinosaurs here. Then, Officer Panda had an idea. Wait a minute. Maybe the dinosaur wasn't lost at the fair, but near it. Let's check the field behind the Ferris wheel. Good thinking, said Mummy Pig. George perked up. Dinosaur in field! They walked past the Ferris wheel and into a quiet, grassy field. The wind rustled the tall grass, and butterflies danced in the sunlight. Suddenly, Peppa noticed something shiny near a puddle. Look, a footprint. Officer Panda knelt down. You're right, Peppa. And look, it's small and round. It could belong to a toy. George ran ahead, calling, Dinosaur? He looked in the grass and saw a tiny piece of green plastic. Tail! He cried. Mummy Pig lifted him up. It's okay, George. We won't stop until we do. Officer Panda looked at the horizon. There's one last place nearby, the children's petting zoo. Maybe someone brought it there by mistake. Let's go, said Peppa. Maybe the animals know something. As they headed toward the zoo, Peppa looked at George and smiled. Don't worry, George. Every great detective finds the last clue when they least expect it. Officer Panda chuckled. You never know, George. Maybe your dinosaur made a new friend at the zoo. Everyone laughed as the police car started up again. Nino! Nino! The search continues! Make sure to follow for the next part of the adventure. The next stop on the adventure was the petting zoo. Officer Panda parked the police car outside the big wooden gates. Nino! Nino! Went the siren one last time before he switched it off. Here we are, said Mummy Pig. The petting zoo! George looked out the window excitedly. Animals, Peppa smiled. Maybe the animals have seen your dinosaur, George. Officer Squirrel nodded. Let's go in and ask around. Inside the zoo, they were greeted by Madame Gazelle. Bonjour, Peppa and George. What brings you to the zoo today? Peppa said proudly, We're on a police investigation. George lost his dinosaur. Madame Gazelle gasped. Oh dear, that sounds very important. Officer Panda smiled. We're checking every corner of town to find the missing toy. Madame Gazelle nodded. Then you've come to the right place. The children and I have been feeding the animals all morning. Maybe one of them found something green. They started with the goat pen. Hello, goats, said Peppa. Have you seen a dinosaur? The goats just munched on grass. Munch, munch. Maybe that means no, said Daddy Pig with a chuckle. Next, they went to the bunny hutch. Rebecca Rabbit hopped over. Hello, Peppa. Hello, George. What are you doing here? George said softly. Looking for Dinosaur. Rebecca's ears perked up. A dinosaur! Ooh, maybe one of the bunnies found it. They all peered into the hutch. Tiny bunnies wriggled their noses, but there was no green dinosaur inside. Peppa giggled. They're too cute to hide toys. Then they went to the duck pond inside the zoo. Quack, quack went the ducks. Hello again, ducks, said Peppa. Still no dinosaur, I see? The ducks splashed water everywhere. George laughed. Duck splash. Officer Squirrel smiled. We might not have found the toy, but we did find a good splash zone. Suddenly, Gerald Giraffe called from across the yard. Hey everyone, come look at this. They all hurried over to the tortoise area, where Tiddles the tortoise lived. Tiddles was sitting in the grass, chewing on something green. George gasped. Dinosaur! But when they looked closer, Tiddles was just chewing a leaf. Peppa giggled. Oh, Tiddles, you scared us! Madame Gazelle laughed too. Tiddles loves green things. Then, Officer Panda's radio crackled. Calling Officer Panda. Report from zoo office. A green toy spotted near the animal feed shed. Everyone gasped. Could it be? Said Peppa. George clapped his hands. Dinosaur! Let's go, said Officer Panda. They ran to the animal feed shed. The door was half open, and inside were sacks of hay, boxes of carrots, and a broom leaning against the wall. Officer Panda shone his torch inside. Nothing unusual here. Peppa peeked behind the haystack and squealed. Something green! George hurried over. Dinosaur! But when Daddy Pig pulled it out, it wasn't a dinosaur. It was a rubber garden glove. Everyone laughed. Sorry, George, said Mummy Pig. Not this time. George sighed. Always not Dinosaur. Officer Squirrel smiled gently. Don't worry, George. Every mystery has one last clue, and I think we're getting close. As they stepped outside, Mr. Lion, the zookeeper, walked toward them. "Hello there. I heard you're looking for something?" Peppa nodded eagerly. "Yes! George's green dinosaur!" Mr. Lion rubbed his chin. That sounds familiar. Earlier today, I saw a little duck waddling toward the back gate with something green in its beak. "A duck?" said Peppa. George blinked. "Duck? Dinosaur?" Officer Panda smiled. "Maybe the ducks took the toy from the garden pond yesterday." "That's possible," said Daddy Pig. "They do love shiny things." "Then what are we waiting for?" said Peppa. "Let's follow the duck trail." They followed Mr. Lion around the back of the zoo. There, muddy duck footprints led to a tiny hole under the fence. Officer Panda crouched down. Escape route! On the other side of the fence was a grassy hill that led down to the big river. "Let's check the riverbank," said Officer Squirrel. "Adventure time!" giggled Peppa. George held her hand tightly. "Find Dinosaur!" At the river, they found more clues. Floating near the reeds was a little piece of green plastic. Officer Panda scooped it out with his net. "It's part of a toy, all right, but not the whole dinosaur." Peppa gasped. "That means he's nearby." George looked up at the trees. "Dinosaur fly?" Peppa laughed. "Dinosaurs don't fly, George." "Except pterodactyls," said Daddy Pig helpfully. Everyone laughed again. They followed the river path until they reached Grandpa Pig's boathouse. Grandpa Pig was polishing his boat. "Ahoy there, Peppa! What are you all doing?" Peppa called. "We're looking for George's dinosaur, Grandpa. We think he floated this way." Grandpa Pig smiled. "Well, you're in luck. I found something green stuck in my fishing net this morning," George gasped. "Dinosaur!" Grandpa Pig reached into his toolbox and pulled out a small, wet green dinosaur tail. Everyone cheered. "Look, George," said Peppa. "It's part of Mr. Dinosaur." George jumped up and down. "Tail! Dinosaur tail!" Officer Panda smiled. "We're getting close, team. The rest of him can't be far." Grandpa Pig chuckled. "Maybe the ducks carried it downstream. Why don't you check near the old bridge?" Peppa nodded. "Good idea, Grandpa." "Thank you," said Mummy Pig. George waved. "Bye-bye, Grandpa. Dinosaur next." As they walked toward the bridge, Officer Panda said, "Good teamwork, everyone. We found the first real clue." Peppa smiled proudly. Detective Peppa Pig and Officer George are on the case. George puffed out his chest. "Detective George!" Everyone laughed as they followed the river trail, ready for the next big discovery. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun stories. The sun was shining high as Peppa, George, and the police officers followed the river path. Officer Panda checked his map. According to Grandpa Pig, the old bridge is just around the bend. Peppa skipped happily. Maybe Mr. Dinosaur floated there for an adventure. George clutched the tiny dinosaur tail tightly. "Find Dinosaur soon," Mummy Pig smiled. "Don't worry, George. We're very close now." Daddy Pig nodded. "Yes, I can feel it in my tummy, though that might be because it's nearly lunchtime." Everyone laughed. As they walked along the river, they saw ducks swimming in a row. Quack, quack. "Look, Peppa," said George. "Duck friends." Peppa waved. "Hello, ducks. Have you seen a green dinosaur?" The ducks quacked loudly and splashed in circles. Officer Squirrel chuckled. "That sounds like a maybe." "Maybe they're trying to tell us something," said Peppa. "Follow the ducks," shouted George. So they followed the ducks down the riverbank until they reached the old stone bridge. The bridge was very big and covered in moss. Below it, the water glimmered in the sunlight, and the ducks were swimming around something that looked green. George gasped. "Dinosaur!" Officer Panda leaned over carefully. I can see something floating there." He reached down with his long-handled net. Everyone held their breath. He scooped up the object and lifted it out of the water. It was small, round, and green. But when Peppa looked closer, she giggled. "That's not a dinosaur, that's a green watermelon." "Oh," sighed George. Not Dinosaur, Daddy Pig laughed. Well, at least we found something delicious, Officer Squirrel smiled. We're still on the right track, George. The ducks led us here for a reason. Just then, Officer Panda's radio crackled again. Calling Officer Panda! A local fisherman reports finding a small toy caught in his net. By the bridge! Peppa gasped. That must be it. George's eyes sparkled. Dinosaur! Dinosaur! Let's go, said Officer Panda. They hurried across the bridge to the fisherman's boat. Mr. Stallion, the fisherman, waved at them. Ahoy there! You must be the ones looking for a missing toy. Peppa nodded eagerly. Yes, George's dinosaur. Mr. Stallion pointed to his net. Well, I did catch something this morning that wasn't a fish. It was green, plastic, and very muddy. George's face lit up. Dinosaur! Mr. Stallion reached into his tackle box and pulled out a green dinosaur leg. Everyone gasped. Another piece, said Peppa. We're getting closer. Officer Panda examined it. One tail and one leg found. That means 2 more pieces to go. George clapped his hands. Nearly whole dinosaur. Mummy Pig smiled. We should follow the river a bit more. The rest of him might have floated farther downstream. Daddy Pig agreed. Yes. Adventure continues. So they waved goodbye to Mr. Stallion and set off again, walking beside the gentle river. Soon they came to a small wooden bridge. Underneath, the water made a bubbling sound. Listen, said Peppa. It's giggling water. Officer Squirrel leaned over. I see something shiny in the mud. She reached down carefully with her gloved hand and pulled out a muddy green piece. Peppa gasped. That's Mr. Dinosaur's body! George jumped up and down. Body, tail, leg? Officer Panda smiled proudly. Well done, team. Only the head left to find. Where could it be? Asked Peppa. Daddy Pig stroked his chin. If I were a dinosaur head, where would I go? Maybe to get some ice cream, giggled Peppa. Or maybe, said Mummy Pig, to dry off in the sun. Officer Panda looked toward the distance. Let's check the play meadow. The water flows right there, and children sometimes find toys washed up. Play meadow, shouted Peppa and George together. When they reached the meadow, they saw Freddy Fox, Zoe Zebra, and Candy Cat playing catch. Hello, everyone, called Peppa. Have you seen a green dinosaur head? Freddy thought for a moment. A dinosaur head? I found something round in the grass earlier. He ran to his picnic blanket and pulled out a muddy green shape. Dinosaur? Whispered George hopefully. Freddy wiped the mud away and revealed a green ball. Oh, said George quietly. Peppa smiled kindly. Good try, Freddy. That's still very green. Everyone laughed. Then Zoe Zebra pointed toward the riverbank. Hey, what's that shiny thing by the rocks? Officer Panda hurried over. He moved the reeds aside, and there it was. A green dinosaur head with a big friendly smile. Dinosaur! Shouted George. Everyone cheered. Officer Panda handed it to George. Mission complete, Officer George. George giggled with joy. Dinosaur! Whole dinosaur! Peppa clapped. We found every piece. Let's put him back together. Officer Squirrel sat down with her glue kit from the police car. She carefully attached the tail, the leg, the body, and finally the head. There, she said. As good as new. George hugged his toy tightly. Dinosaur! Grrr! Peppa laughed. Hooray for George's dinosaur! Officer Panda smiled proudly. Case closed. As the sun began to set, everyone sat by the riverbank. Mummy Pig said, What a big adventure we've had. Daddy Pig nodded. Yes, from the garden to the fair, to the zoo and the bridge. Peppa grinned, and the police helped us all the way. George made his dinosaur growl happily. Thank you, police, Officer Panda saluted. Anytime, little officers! But just as they were packing up to go home, splash! Everyone turned around. Mr. Dinosaur had slipped from George's hands and fell back into the river. "Oh no!" cried Peppa. "Dinosaur!" shouted George. The current carried it gently toward the big lake at the end of the meadow. Officer Panda blinked. "Well," he said, "looks like we're not quite done yet." "Oh no!" cried Peppa. "Mr. Dinosaur's floating away again." George pointed at the green toy bobbing gently down the river. "Dinosaur, come back!" Officer Panda quickly pulled out his radio. "Attention, all units! We have a runaway dinosaur headed for Sunny Lake." The radio crackled. "Copy that! We'll keep the water clear," Mummy Pig gasped. "Sunny Lake is quite big. We must hurry before it sinks." Daddy Pig puffed out his chest. "Don't worry! Daddy Pig to the rescue!" He jumped onto the riverbank. Splash! And landed right in the mud. Peppa giggled. "Oh, Daddy Pig, you look like a muddy hippo now." Daddy Pig chuckled sheepishly. "Perhaps I'll stick to land rescue." Officer Squirrel pointed down the path. "The lake's only a short walk away. If we follow the river, we might catch it before it drifts too far." "Let's go," said Peppa. Everyone ran down the path. The ducks quacked loudly and flew beside them as if cheering the rescue on. "Look, the ducks are helping," Peppa said. George giggled. "Duck friends saved Dinosaur." When they reached Sunny Lake, it sparkled beautifully in the sunlight. The water stretched wide, and a few boats floated gently near the docks. There, near the middle of the lake, was something green bobbing up and down. "Dinosaur!" shouted George. "Oh dear," said Mummy Pig. "It's too far to reach from here." Officer Panda rubbed his chin. We might need a boat." Just then, Granddad Dog appeared in his sailor hat. "Ahoy there! What's all this excitement about?" Peppa ran up to him. "Granddad Dog, George's dinosaur fell into the lake." Granddad Dog laughed. "A lost dinosaur, eh? Sounds like a job for my rescue boat." Everyone climbed aboard. George held his binoculars tightly, keeping his eyes on the floating toy. "Keep steady, crew," said Granddad Dog proudly. "We'll bring that dino home." The boat hummed across the lake, making small ripples in the calm water. Peppa pointed. "There he is! A bit to the left, Captain Dog." Granddad Dog turned the wheel. "Aye, aye, Peppa!" Officer Panda leaned over the side, holding his net ready. "Almost there," he said. Just then, whoosh, a gust of wind pushed Mr. Dinosaur farther away. "Oh no!" cried George. "After him!" shouted Peppa. Granddad Dog revved the engine. "Hold on tight, everyone!" They sped after the drifting dinosaur, weaving between lily pads and floating twigs. Mummy Pig held onto her hat. "Oh my! This is turning into a real sea chase!" Daddy Pig tried to look heroic but ended up wobbling. "Steady! Steady! Closer!" cried Peppa. Officer Panda stretched the net as far as he could. "Got it! No! Wait! Almost! Ah!" Splash! Officer Panda slipped and fell halfway into the lake, splashing everyone. Peppa giggled. "You look like a wet fish, Officer Panda!" He laughed, dripping water. "All part of the job, Peppa Pig." They circled around again. Mr. Dinosaur was now drifting toward the island in the middle of the lake, where the water was shallower. Granddad Dog grinned. "We'll corner him there." When they reached the island, Peppa and George jumped out carefully. The sand was soft and warm. "There he is!" shouted George, pointing near the reeds. Mr. Dinosaur had finally washed up on shore, his green body shining in the sunlight. George ran as fast as his little legs could go and picked him up. "Dinosaur!" Everyone clapped and cheered. "Mission complete! Again!" said Officer Squirrel, laughing. Granddad Dog chuckled. "That dinosaur of yours loves adventure, little George." George hugged his toy tightly. "No more swim, Dinosaur." Peppa smiled. "Maybe we should put him on a leash." Everyone laughed. As they sat on the island, catching their breath, Daddy Pig said, "What a day! We've chased a dinosaur across fields, bridges, and now lakes." Mummy Pig nodded. "It's been quite an adventure, hasn't it?" Officer Panda grinned. "The Peppa Pig family makes excellent detectives." Peppa puffed out her chest proudly. "We're the dinosaur rescue team." George added, "Grr!" and made his dinosaur roar. After their big rescue, Granddad Dog offered them all a ride back to shore. As the boat glided across the water, the ducks followed beside them again, quacking happily. When they arrived at the dock, Officer Panda saluted. "Well done, everyone! I'll make an official report. Case of the lost dinosaur, solved." Peppa giggled. "Can I help write it?" Officer Squirrel smiled. "Of course you can, Detective Peppa." Mummy Pig looked at the sky. "It's getting late. Time to head home, everyone." Daddy Pig yawned. "Yes, and maybe have some hot chocolate before bed." George hugged his dinosaur close. "No more lose Dinosaur." Peppa giggled softly. "Next time, we'll keep him in a toy basket instead of the river." Everyone laughed as they walked home together, the golden sunset glowing behind them. That night, George tucked Mr. Dinosaur safely beside his pillow. "Good night, Dinosaur," he whispered. Peppa smiled from her bed. "Good night, George. Good night, everyone." Downstairs, Mummy Pig said to Daddy Pig, "I'm proud of them. They worked hard and never gave up." Daddy Pig nodded sleepily. "Yes, and they made a lot of friends along the way, including the ducks." But just as the house grew quiet, thump, tap, tap. Peppa peeked out of her window. What was that? Down in the garden, something green was glowing faintly near the flower bed. Peppa gasped. "George, wake up! I think your dinosaur is moving!" George blinked sleepily. "Dinosaur. Moving?" Peppa whispered. "Maybe he's come alive!" George's eyes went wide. Grr! It was nighttime at the pig family's house. The moon was round and bright and all was quiet, except for one small glow in the garden. Peppa peeked through her window again. The glow was coming from the flower bed. "George," she whispered, "your dinosaur is glowing." George rubbed his sleepy eyes. "Dinosaur, magic," Peppa giggled. "Let's go see." They tiptoed downstairs very quietly. So quietly that even Daddy Pig's snores didn't stop. Snore. Tss. Snort. Peppa opened the back door, and the cool night air drifted in. There, under the moonlight, sat Mr. Dinosaur, shining softly green. "Ooh!" said Peppa. "He's like a nightlight!" George gasped. "Magic Dinosaur!" The toy seemed to shimmer, glowing brighter when George came close. Peppa knelt beside him. "Maybe he's saying thank you for rescuing him." George hugged the toy gently. "You're welcome, Dinosaur." Suddenly, flash. The glow brightened, and a soft humming sound filled the air. "Uh-oh," whispered Peppa. "Do toys really come alive at night?" Before they could say another word, a friendly voice called from behind the garden fence. "Evening, little detectives. What are you doing out so late?" It was Officer Panda on his night patrol. Peppa and George ran to him. "Officer Panda, look, Mr. Dinosaur is glowing." Officer Panda leaned down and laughed kindly. "Ah, that's not magic, it's science." "Science?" asked Peppa. "Yes," said Officer Panda. "When you were at the lake, the sun charged up the paint on Mr. Dinosaur." "It's called glow-in-the-dark paint," George gasped. "Dinosaur glows because sun magic." Officer Panda chuckled. "That's right, Officer George. The sunlight stores energy, and now it's glowing in the dark." Peppa giggled. "So it's not magic, it's science magic." Officer Panda smiled. "You two have been very brave detectives today. You found every piece of the lost dinosaur and helped lots of friends. I think you deserve a medal." Peppa's eyes widened. "A medal? Really?" "Absolutely," said Officer Panda. "Come by the police station tomorrow. We'll make you official junior detectives." George jumped up and down. "Yay! Dinosaur police!" Officer Panda waved goodnight and continued his patrol. Peppa and George tiptoed back inside. Mummy Pig was waiting at the door in her robe. "What are you two doing up?" Peppa giggled. "We were just saying goodnight to Mr. Dinosaur. He's glowing." Mummy Pig looked and smiled. "Ah, yes. Some toys glow in the dark so little ones don't feel scared at night." George held up his dinosaur proudly. Dinosaur safe now. Come on then, said Mummy Pig softly. Back to bed, my little detectives. The next morning, the bright sun filled the kitchen. Daddy Pig was reading his newspaper, and Mummy Pig was making pancakes. Good morning, said Peppa and George together. Good morning, detectives, said Daddy Pig. Did your dinosaur behave last night? Peppa giggled. Yes, Daddy. He only glowed a little, George added proudly. Dinosaur hero. Mummy Pig smiled. You two certainly are heroes. Now eat up. We have somewhere to go today. Peppa clapped her hands. The police station! After breakfast, they all drove to the police station. Outside, Officer Panda and Officer Squirrel were waiting with a big board that said, Junior Detective Awards! Peppa gasped. It's for us. Officer Squirrel smiled. Yes, for solving the case of the lost dinosaur and helping the community. Officer Panda presented shiny gold badges to Peppa and George. Congratulations, Detective Peppa Pig and Detective George Pig! Everyone clapped and cheered. George raised his dinosaur proudly. Dinosaur Detective too! Officer Panda laughed. Of course, Officer Dinosaur gets an honorary badge. Then Officer Squirrel handed Peppa a little notebook. What's this? Asked Peppa. It's your detective notebook, said Officer Squirrel, for writing clues, drawing suspects, or solving new mysteries. Peppa smiled proudly. Thank you. I'll write, Case 1, the lost dinosaur, solved. George added, Next case, find cookies. Everyone laughed. After the ceremony, the whole family went for a picnic by the lake, the same one where they had found Mr. Dinosaur. The ducks came swimming by again. Hello, ducks, said Peppa. Thank you for helping us last time. Quack, quack, replied the ducks happily. George gave them a few crumbs. Duck friends eat too. As they sat eating sandwiches, Daddy Pig sighed happily. What a perfect day, he said. Adventure, teamwork, and snacks. Peppa giggled. I think the police should call us next time they lose something. Mummy Pig laughed. With your detective work, I'm sure they will. Officer Panda's voice came from across the meadow. Detective Peppa! Detective George! There's a missing traffic cone near the playground. Peppa jumped up. Detectives to the rescue! George waved his dinosaur. Grrr, cone case! Everyone laughed as they hurried off toward their next tiny adventure. That night, as the stars twinkled, George tucked Mr. Dinosaur beside him again. The toy glowed softly, just like before. Peppa whispered from her bed, Good night, Detective Dinosaur. George murmured, Good night, Peppa. Downstairs, Daddy Pig turned off the lights. All quiet, he said. No more dinosaur mysteries tonight. But outside, the ducks quacked softly by the moonlit pond, just in case another adventure was waiting. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.